Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Jiang. That's how I'm going to be pronouncing his name. It may be incorrect, but that's how I'm going to be pronouncing the name. We did get a little teaser of this character in a previous video if you want to go check that out. Thoughts and so on and so forth. There are some comments in that video as well. It'll be interesting to kind of compare it to the actual reality of the matter. If we look at the visuals here, it looks pretty cool. Got that two-handed staff by the looks of things. Looks actually really interesting. Got the Luger on the belt as well. I did notice that in the previous video. But like visually, it looks really cool. If we look on the left-hand side, can see what we saw before. He's got those dispatched walkers in the background. Very nicely dealt with for sure. If we look at the stats, we can see at level 1,440, limit break 3, he has got 28,966 attack, 26,332 defense, and 32,476 HP. Now, I have been told by Scopely that the display stats may not be accurate. I'm not actually sure what they should be, but they should be fairly balanced when it comes to the character. He is more of a support style character. As we can see, he is going to have strong trait. He is going to be at the control role, of course, going to be a Gold Mythic, and he's going to be joining the Typhoon Allegiance. The most recent character to join the Typhoon Allegiance. I don't think he's going to have much synergy with the other characters, but time will tell. Now, first of all, we're going to look at the Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Two Sides. It has got a recharge rate of 55 AP. A random teammate gets 50% attack for each living teammate for 2 turns. A line of enemies gets 75% heal reduction for 2 turns, but plus 25% if the primary target is of the medic role. Deal 1 damage to self. So I'll just break down the first part. I will be again mentioning that Scopely has informed me that instead of it being 50% attack for each living teammate, it is meant to be 75% attack. This is a visual error based on the upgrades, gives a 25% boost, and it just was a visual error here. This will be updated when the character is released. This means that if you have 2 characters alive, Jiang and someone else, the other person will get 150% attack because Jiang and the other person are the 2 characters left alive. But if the entire team is alive, that character will get 375% attack boost off of turn 1 potentially if you really wanted to command rush Jiang. There'll be a character getting a massive buff. A line of enemies getting 75% heal reduction for 2 turns, getting boosted up to 100% heal reduction if you target a medic role. It does seem very good to target a medic role because there is no damage on this. There is only a buff to, the character, and it's random. You should always try and target a medic role character just so you get 100% heal reduction, so that if anyone does get taken down, even if they're not decapped, they can't get revived for a couple of turns. Now, the deal 1 damage to self is a bit strange maybe, but if you did see my preview on how the new specialist skills work, this is going to be very important to make sure that his specialist skill procs almost every single turn, and that is going to be very good for any procs in the passives that do rely on him getting guardian shields. We'll be looking at the passives and his specialist skill later on in the video, but if you want to go check out the new specialist skill preview before I continue here, a link should be in the top right hand corner. Okay, so here we are with the Adrenaline Rush of Jiang, and all I need to do when I actually decide who I'm going to target is generally try and focus on who is a medic, so that line of enemies gets 100% heal reduction. Now, there will be an animation when I do the Adrenaline Rush, but he will not actually hit the enemy, so no chance to proc any weapons, passives, or mods or anything like that. He'll just wave his staff around in the air, and then the enemies have 100% heal reduction. This obviously means they can't be healed, but if I down them in this time, they'll also have effectively a decap block for those 2 turns. As you can see, the attack buff went to Maggie here. She has 150% attack because as it stands, it is 50% per alive teammate. I've got 3 teammates alive, and that adds up to 150%. But when it goes live in the game, when the character is able to be pulled, it should be 75% attack for every alive teammate. So this buff would actually be 225%. As I said, if every character was alive on the team, it would be a 375% attack buff for 2 turns. A signature move and a rush potentially. So depending on who that lands on, that could be extremely powerful for sure. Now, as you might have seen, the Guardian Shield did get removed due to him dealing 1 damage to himself And this is so that the Guardian Shield will proc again at the beginning of the enemy's team because of his specialist skill. We will look at how that works later on in the video, but I can tell you it works very nicely in conjunction with those passives. Now going on to the upgrades, you can see at grade 3 it gets an upgrade where a random teammate gets plus 25% attack for each living teammate for 2 turns, but it should probably be 50% instead. And then at grade 5, it gets an upgrade where it'll be plus 25% heal reduction if the primary target is of the medic role. So initially it's just a 75% heal reduction to a line of enemies, but conditionally it'll go up to 100% if the character is a medic that you target. Then at limit break 2 it gets plus 25% attack up, going from 50% up to 75%. As I said, at the moment it's just not showing how it should be, but it should be 75% for each living teammate if you get this character up to limit break 2. So I actually like this adrenaline rush, especially in conjunction with other parts of Jiang's kit. The deal 1 damage to self always looks interesting, but it's going to work very, very nicely with that specialist skill and the fact that he'll be applying Guardian Shields to himself at the start of his turn and the start of the enemy's turn as well. Like I said, we will go into that a bit further detail later on in the video, but it's actually kind of a fun interaction. Now the 375% attack boost max potential is crazy. Depending on who that goes on, it could be absolutely nuts. Either in Ghost, for instance, gets bonus attack based on their own passives, and this should stack because that doesn't count as a speech bubble buff, so she could potentially be having effectively like over 1000% attack boost based on the negative effects on the enemy team. Really nice potential there. Even someone like Mirabelle, the new Mirabelle in the event, would get a massive boost if she got this, with again the negative effects that she can deal out and the boost that she'll get from attacking characters with negative effects. Again, those will stack because they're not speech bubble buffs. Like I say, 375% attack buff, no one's really complaining. As long as it lands on a damage dealer, you should be pretty happy. But I will be honest, even if it doesn't land on a damage dealer, because of Jiang's signature move, that 375% attack boost will boost other parts of Jiang's kit, which we'll get into a little bit later. So the rush is okay. It definitely is not the highlight of Jiang's kit. It's going to keep some enemies' HP down, keep them down for a couple of turns if you do take them out, and that attack buff is just nice overall. So next we'll move on to the signature move, and it is called Positive Power. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 0 turns, number of uses unlimited. 2 random teammates get elusive for 3 turns and 100% taunt resistance for 2 turns. Deal 20% of this fighter's living team's total attack stat as damage to an enemy. Deal 1 damage to self. So just a full breakdown, the cooldown of 0 turns means that he can do it every single turn. He will not need AP on attack to get his adrenaline rush quick enough. So absolutely fine to just go for quite a pure stat weapon. The elusive and the resistances are nice. Elusive means that there'll be no AP gained by enemies when the characters with that buff get attacked or get attacked by that character. So for instance, if it lands on, let's say, Eva and Ghost, and she does monumental damage to somebody, they're not going to gain any sort of AP if they're even alive after that sort of attack. The resistance, of course, is nice as well. Effectively, that is only going to be a 1-turn taunt resist because the turn that he applies it is one of those 2 turns, so it will basically be a taunt resist for the next turn. But because he can do this every turn, he's going to be giving out elusive and taunt resist constantly. This is going to be absolutely crazy. The next part is interesting. Obviously, this could be boosted quite heavily by attack buffs, and I will say that Jiang does have other, ways to boost the attack of his entire team, so effectively boosting the attack of this actual hit. Jiang isn't like your standard damage dealer, but he is going to benefit from having high attack stat characters in the team. On an attack team, you could easily get somewhere in the region of 600k attack without too much of a problem. 20% of that is going to be 120,000 damage. That is really, really heavy damage to be able to do every single turn. That's even without buffs. Now, just like the Adrenaline Rush, he'll deal 1 damage to himself, and that is to remove the Guardian Shield at the end of his turn, and then when it goes back to the defense, just like the Adrenaline Rush, it will reapply it, gaining extra buffs from his passives, which we will look at a little bit later. So here we are at the start of the turn, and we are going to use the signature move of Jiang. We'll use it on Angel here, who has got reasonable amount of HP and bonus HP. It doesn't matter who we attack, really, because it's flat damage. It doesn't take into account their defense rating. It only counts, you know, flat damage. Like I say, it's going to do the same damage every time. It's very, very easy to calculate. Now, we have got a very offensive team here. I will say there's two 1535s on this team, on the leader and Wanderer, so the attacks are going to get boosted a bit by those. But Michonne and Ivor and Ghost have their attached weapons, but we do have 45% attack buff on all these characters, and that's going to obviously boost the overall attack of the full team. This can obviously go higher. I have not modded any of these characters out. They have not got upgraded weapons when it comes to 5%, so on and so forth, so you can definitely do more damage, but it is already doing significant damage. If we do the signature move up the top, we can see it's going to do 130k damage. This is 20% of the team's overall attack stat. It can definitely get higher. Now you can see that Jiang did have that Guardian Shield removed, but obviously because of his specialist skill, when it goes to the defensive team's turn, he'll have it reapplied to him. I'll show you that, like I said, on the Adrenaline Rush when we get to the specialist skill. I know there are probably some people wondering, how does that 1 damage to self work if you attack somebody that would do some sort of counter or reflect damage like a Bide character, or if, like, let's say you got the last and final hit to take down a Vengeance character. You could do this against them, and the Bide takes out the Guardian Shield first, and then you would do 1 damage to yourself. As you can see, he took 1 damage rather than the large amount of damage that he would have taken from Bide instead. Now, if we look at the upgrades on the signature move, you can see at grade 2, it gets an upgrade where 2 random teammates get 100% taunt resistance for 2 turns. At grade 4, it's going to get -1 to starting cooldown. So initially, it's going to have a 2-turn starting cooldown, but you only need 1 copy for that first turn starting cooldown. At limit break 1, he gets plus 10% damage. So then he'll go from dealing 10% of his overall living team's total attack stat to 20% of his overall living team's attack stat. Then at limit break 3, he gets -1 to cooldown, and this will mean he can do it every single turn. I'd say this is quite important. The amount of damage output this actually can potentially do is really, really high. This is a really good character at punching up. All you have to do is build your attack stat, and you've got a character that can hit really, really hard against any character. Like I said, defense stat does not count against this character. He'll bypass defense stat. Bonus HP and main HP is all that he has to deal with. So yeah, very powerful signature move, especially if this character is in the correct team. You want to have heavy attack-based team, 100%, and obviously maybe a little bit of control in there as well. But I like this a lot. This could be very, very powerful. As you saw in the test before, the character I focused off of turn 1 had crosshairs, and I decapped them straight away with Jiang, and that's pretty much what you can do yourself. The elusive and the taunt resistance are nice little bonuses on top. Those will be being applied every single turn. So you could have 3, 4, or even your entire team with elusive at some points, which would be actually kind of hilarious. Now, before we get into Jiang's passive skills, we are going to be doing a giveaway because Jiang is an advanced token wheel character. We're going to be giving away 10,000 advanced tokens. And all you have to do is like the video and make sure you use the word Typhoon in a comment down below. Please tell me what you think about Jiang in that comment as well. It will be interesting to see. The winner will be drawn in around about 10 days time. Generally speaking, on a Monday stream, I will reply to the winning comment, so make sure you have notifications turned on. Best of luck if you enter. Now back to the video. Now here are Jiang's mythic abilities. These are his passive skills, of course. Now he is going to be a control role character, so that means he is going to have precision, and that means any of the control-based instances that he's going to be able to apply, he is going to have a 40% flat rate increase of bypassing people's resistances. So if they have like a 100% resistance, it'll go down to 60%, so on and so forth. The next one is called Prime Focus. At the start of each wave, 100% chance this fighter gets focus for the rest of combat. That's a nice little bonus for Jiang. It means he can bypass shields on turn 1 and use that very, very heavy damaging signature move against any character on the defense team without proccing their weapon, without proccing any of their passives, without going against the defense rating. That is actually pretty strong indeed. The next one is called Continuity. When this fighter gets Guardian Shield, 100% chance one other teammate gets focus for 2 turns and a Guardian Shield. Now we will look at his specialist skill in just a bit, but if you checked out my preview of the specialist skills from yesterday, you will know this is potentially going to proc every single turn. So he's going to be handing out Guardian Shields a lot, plus focus a lot to his teammates. And this also means that someone is going to get focus off of turn 1, again, being able to bypass human shields, and it could land on an extremely powerful damage dealer. Nice little support buff here, and like I said, it's going to be proccing all the time. The last passive is called Conversion. When this fighter gets Guardian Shield, which is going to be happening twice per combat round, an equal chance a random enemy gets either minus 40% defense for 2 turns or double that amount for 1 turn, which would obviously be 80%. So yeah, he's going to be doing defense down as well, which again is quite a nice support style thing. You might have seen it in previous clips where there was just random defense down on enemies. Jiang himself is not going to be able to take advantage of that because the defense rating does not matter with Jiang's signature move. So don't ever focus the character that has defense down with Jiang. Make sure you focus it with someone else, and someone who's attack based, someone like Eva and Ghost, someone like Forsaken Michonne, someone who's going to get bonuses against someone who has lower defense. Jiang himself, he can take out pretty much anyone, defense rating, bonus defense. If you see like a 500, 1,000, a million defense rating buff, it doesn't matter. He'll bypass that with that signature move. So don't ever go for the person with defense down for sure. So he has 2 Guardian Shield proccing buffs, and that's going to work every single time due to his specialist skill. Let's test it out. So when we start the turn, you can see that we have got an 80% defense down on a character. We also have a 60%, but that's someone else in the team doing the minus 60%. The minus 80% is from Jiang here. And like I said, if I did my signature move against this character, we hit for 130k last time. If I do my signature move again, we're going to hit for exactly the same. You see, the defense down makes no difference for Jiang. So it would have been better off for me focusing someone like Nor, who does not have defense down, but also have crosshairs, and try and take advantage of it like that. Now, I did remove my Guardian Shield. You can still see the Guardian Shield where it applied. It was on Michonne. It might apply to the person with the lowest HP every single time, so you can maybe dictate where that focus goes. I'll test it out just to make sure, but if it is landing on Michonne every single time, that means I know she's going to be able to bypass shields, which is actually really, really interesting, and like I say, quite powerful for you to know this with the knowledge. Now, if I just hit the defend actions again, you'll see I get a Guardian Shield once more. So does Philip Blake, and now Philip Blake gets the bypass of the shields because he should get some focus with that. You see, he's got focus. We also got Michonne taunted, but because she had the focus, I can still use her skills as I please. Now, if it goes straight into the upgrades on Jiang's passives, we can see at grade 1, he gets the first half of Prime Focus. Well, there'll be a 50% chance this fighter gets focus for the rest of combat. At grade 2, he gets the first half of Precision, making enemy resistances 20% lower against this character. At grade 3, he gets the second half of Prime Focus, making it 100% chance this fighter gets focus for the rest of combat. At grade 4, he gets the first half of Continuity. When this fighter gets a Guardian Shield, there's a 50% chance one other teammate gets focus for 2 turns and a Guardian Shield. And at grade 5, he gets the first half of Conversion. When this fighter gets Guardian Shield, an equal chance a random enemy gets either minus 20% defense for 2 turns or double that amount. Moving on to the limit breaks, you can see at limit break 1, he gets Precision 2, making it 40% lower enemy resistances against this fighter. At limit break 2, he gets Continuity 2. When this fighter gets a Guardian Shield, now there's a 100% chance one other teammate gets focused for 2 turns and a Guardian Shield. And I can confirm that this will always go to the character with the lowest HP. So you can dictate where this is going to go for the initial Guardian Shield at the beginning of the fight. And this basically means there's going to be less RNG for how you will attack a team. You know a particular fighter is going to get this buff. Next up is Conversion 2. When this fighter gets a Guardian Shield, an equal chance a random enemy gets either minus 20% defense for 2 turns or double that amount, but it will actually be minus 40% because it's stacked with the first one. So those are upgrades to the passives. I like that he gets a lot of procs based on his Guardian Shields. because it means it's going to happen twice per combat turn. Once on his own turn, being attack, and once on the enemy's turn, being defense. And it happens before they take their turn too. So that means that he's going to get an extra Guardian Shield because he removes it with his rush and his signature move. And it also means a teammate is as well. Not to mention the focus that's going to be going around on teammates. You can, again, dictate, generally speaking, the second Guardian Shield, because the first will always go on the lowest character, so you'll know who can bypass shields on the first turn. And then the second will go on the second to lowest character, so you'll know who will get some initial protection from being dogpiled by the defense team on their first turn. Past that, it really depends on who has the lowest HP at the time, but those first two you actually have a little bit of control over. Although, most of the time you won't change the HP of attack team characters, it will just go to those characters that have low HP. And Forsaken Michonne just happens to have the lowest HP out of that team that I showed. But yeah, very nice passives. Work really nice with Jiang's kit. But we have to look at his specialist skill to really understand why these Guardian Shields proccing on these passives are so powerful. And that specialist skill is, of course, Sentinel. I did go over this in a preview video. If you want to check it out, I did talk about the potential of this specialist skill. But we are seeing it in action here. And it says, at the start of combat and every turn, both defensive and offensive, this fighter gets a Guardian Shield. Now, it doesn't sound that amazing just by itself. I did say in my previous video, this will require passives to really be powerful. And there's two passives that proc every time he gets a Guardian Shield. One's going to do defense down to the enemy team, and the other one is going to give a Guardian Shield and focus to a teammate. Both very nice support actions. Will make enemy teams quicker to take down, will make your team have better actual chance to be able to use their skills and higher survivability. So very, very nice indeed in my opinion. What we'll do is we'll just attack with an attack team, and we'll do a lot of defense just to show you how this works in action. So if we start the fight, you can see that my team has got 2 Guardian Shields. It always goes to the person with the lowest HP, as proven again by it landing on Forsaken Michonne. Forsaken Michonne can now attack one of these 4 characters behind the human shield, and I'm going to go for the character that is very problematic, hidden behind a human shield. We'll hit the basic attack. She'll self-cleanse because of how Forsaken Michonne's kit works. Now I can Adrenaline Rush someone if I want to. I could go for the character with defense down. Obviously, that would be a good choice. Jiang can also attack behind a human shield. So I can go for the person with crosshairs here. And that's more damage done. And you can see Jiang removed his own Guardian Shield. Now I'm going to hit the defend action here on Michonne. We're not going to go for like pure blitz mode. I just want you to see that another Guardian Shield is going to get applied to Jiang. And it will go on to Philip Blake before the enemy team take their turn. So the second I defend with Wanderer, you can see that the Guardian Shields pop up on my team. We now have focus on Philip Blake. Again, we have a Guardian Shield on Jiang. He still has focus for the rest of combat. I can again attack behind a human shield if I want because he still has that focus. And I can obviously blow up characters now with Michonne, so on and so forth. And then it'll give more Guardian Shields out the next turn. I'll do defend actions again, but it should go to Michonne this time because she's the lowest HP. Let's have a little look. I might actually go to Wanderer because he took HP. He took damage, sorry. So there we go. It's like a protection against characters that are in trouble as well, which is actually kind of nice. Again, I can attack behind a shield if I so wish. I'm just going to defend on these characters again. And I just want to show you again that the Guardian Shield going out. This time it should go to Michonne. There we go. You saw Michonne get it. We are going to have Omid do his 500 attacks. But as you can see, the Guardian Shield protected Michonne. And that's what it's about. It's about protecting your characters. Also giving out buffs. The focus is going to be really good. Especially because you can dictate who that goes to. In this case, Michonne being able to bypass a human shield and just basically use her signature move against anyone on their defense team. I think that's really, really nice in this particular setup. So yeah, that's how Sentinel works, and it obviously comes down to how good the kit is with the interaction with this specialist skill, and in this case, it works very, very nicely indeed. Lots of support actions, lots of defense down, lots of focus, lots of Guardian Shields for teammates. I personally like this. Survivability and anti-control for your characters. No taunts, no confuses on whoever that lands on. And like I said, at the start of the fight, you can dictate who are the 2 characters who are going to get focus. You can dictate the first one and the second one just based on the 2 lowest HPs on your team. If, for instance, I didn't want it to go to Flip Blake, I could give him a HP mod to boost his HP up, and it will go to either Wanderer or Eva, which again would be very nice. Now, last but by no means least, we'll look at Jiang's weapon, and it is his Savage Bone Spear. It has got 45% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved defense plus attack down. When being attacked, a 60% chance to cause minus 35% defense and minus 35% attack to the attacker for their next 2 turns. And in the last shot, it has improved strong attacks. At the start of each turn, all other teammates get 15% attack for each strong teammate on the team for 1 turn. In some of the previous clips, you saw that people with 45% attack buff. That is because we had Forsaken Michonne, Eva and Ghost, and Jiang himself, giving everybody 45% attack except Jiang. But he gets the boost off of those attack boosts because it boosts the overall attack of the team. And now his signature move is going to be dealing so much damage because it's 20% of the overall attack. So that is Gold Mythic Jiang coming to the game with a brand new specialist skill, and it does look like a lot of fun the way it interacts with those passives. A lot of support potential on those procs on the Guardian Shield, survivability as well. But Jiang can do significant amount of damage if put into the right team. I'll probably put together a little showcase guide for this character as well, like I did for Sandy, just giving you an idea of the kind of team I put together with this character. There's very specific things you want to focus on when it comes to the teammates of Jiang, the kind of damage output, the kind of weaponry they have, so you boost Jiang, because his takedown potential is really high, and I think you could probably use him in a nice auto team just based on the fact that he can one-shot a lot of characters quite easily. Do tell me your thoughts though on Gold Mythic Jiang, who will be coming to the game as an advanced token war character. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway. Remember to hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.